Before I go to a restaurant, whether that be alone or with someone else, I like to take a look at the menu, see what they have. A lot of times, that's how I make my decision of where I'm going to go. And I would think that most people do this, right? Because when you go to a place, it's very obvious what they're going to ask. It's almost like they follow a script. You sit down, they bring out the waters, and they're like, so, do we need a little more time at the menu or do we know what we're going to get? Maybe start with some drinks, some apps, small plates, tapas, depending on where you're at. And so it's scripted, right? You know what the prompt is going to look like. So it would behoove you, right, to be prepared and come with your order ready because they're going to hit you with those questions. The last thing you want to do, right, is show up, they come down and give you your water. And you're like, so I got some water started for the table. I know, how generous have I? Do we know what we're going to get started for the table? And then you look at them and go, well, I don't know. They're like, what? Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll give you a couple minutes. You can take a look at the menu. No rush, huh? And it's like, well, no, I won't have an idea when you come back. And we're like, what's that? What's that? Well, no, you're the food guy, right? Give me the food. I did my part by showing up here, huh? I didn't know there was homework. What, you wanted me to study before I came here? How do I know what I want? Oh, well, it's all in the book. Oh, so now I gotta do reading. Okay. What is this, school, huh? We're gonna go around the restaurant, do popcorn reading, huh? I bet you guys don't even carry popcorn, do you? And these people that already had their food, you're telling me they read the whole menu? I can't even read. And they're like, oh, yep, no, that's becoming more apparent that would track with your character. All right. Listen, if I understood what you just said to me, I'd feel insulted, but I don't really know what you said to me, so I'm going to let it pass. But you know what they're going to ask you. They're going to say, what do you want to get? So it makes sense, right? Maybe do a little pre-work. I know, no one likes that pesky summer homework, right? That you got to come back to school having done. But I find that it's better for the dining experience to already know what you're going to order. Because then you don't got to stress and, get in there and start doing all the reading and then flip through the pages. Usually when you get dinner or lunch or whatever with someone nowadays, you're doing a lot of catching up. And they're probably really excited that they're hitting you with some really interesting starter story. And so you don't want to be flipping through, right? Bunch of appetizer pages, bunch of small plates, ask the waiter, what's the difference between small plates and appetizers? There's nothing? Okay. So why are the small plates a little extra? What's that? Sorry, you're trying to pay attention to your friend at the same time? Yeah, who died? That's cool. So the nachos, the cheese, that's on the side, or do I have to ask for it on the side? Oh my God, hit by a car? That's too bad. Wow, And the jalapenos, that's extra? Okay. So you don't want to do that shit. So you do your studying beforehand. You see what they have. And like I said, a lot of times that's how you make your decision. Because some of these restaurants, right, they're not too clear about what they order, or what they sell, what you're going to order. Like, there's a pizza place called Pete's. How am I supposed to know what Pete's has? It's not Pete's Pizza. It's Pete's. And then you look at his business card. His last name is Za. Please, call me Mr. Za. You know what? I don't like that this is a place that I entered into. But Pete's, there's no way, right? You go to a Pete's. I remember growing up, there was a Pete's. And I went there for dinner when I went to homecoming as a senior. And then there's even a Pete's over by, I think in Davis, there's a Pete's. No, there's a Steve's. There's always a Steve's or a Pete's. They love making pizza. Those two guys, they should collab, see what they come up with. But I remember even by my work, there's a Steve's Pizza. In Davis, there was a Steve's Pizza. I'm pretty sure even where I grew up, there was a Steve's Pizza. But Steve's Pizza, right? A lot of people call it Steve's. So if you say, hey, we're going to go to Steve's, what the fuck is that a guy? What does he have? Is he a chef? No, it's the place. That doesn't clear it up either. So you have to be, you got to do your research about what these places carry. Because a lot of times, just by their name, it's no good. I know even by my work, there's a brunch spot called Milestone. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean milestone? What, is that where I go when I want to celebrate something? No, apparently that's where you go when you want to celebrate brunch as a meal of the day. So you have to do your research. But apparently, like I said, I think most people would do this, but some don't. I remember I was talking to a friend, this was a few years ago, and he was asking me, he was like, hey, before you go to a place where you're going to eat, you look at the menu, right? I'm like, yeah, that's how I decide pretty much where I'm going to go. He's like, right. And I was like, okay. Sounds like you do that too. He was like, well, yeah, I do. And I believe that. But some people don't. And I was like, these some people, have I met them before? Could this potentially be your girlfriend you're referencing? He was like, no. But some people. And I was like, oh, well, that's code for, yeah, the thing I just said, but you can't say it because this car is bugged, isn't it? Yeah, they were dating at the time. No longer. What a surprise, right? No, I'm just kidding. They're married. It's much worse. But by the way, is marriage? What's all the scare about divorce rates? People always try to throw that number at you. 50% of couples get divorced, right? 50% of married couples get divorced. That's really good. Think about it. I feel like you should feel reassured if you hear that number. 50% of people? Because look, think about it right now. All the people you know that are married, you think they're all going to make it out, right? Like, that's like, there was a test and we sent like the dumbest people in to take the test. And then, yeah, they scored a 50%. That's great. That's really good. That's higher than I would have thought. Half of them are passing? Wow. No, that should make you feel good. I've never understood that 50 number to skate one and two. Half of the people. Yeah, well, half are passing. Also, you got to look at the quality of the people flunking, right? You run into this in school, right? People say, "Oh, I have this GPA," and you're like, "Wow, that's impressive." But what's your major, right? You got to do one level deeper of investigation, and then you got to say, "Well, what class did you take? What classes have you taken?" And then you can kind of gauge what that GPA means. Because, right, a divorce is a divorce. A GPA is a GPA. But who were the players involved, right? What was the test they were taking and who was taking it? That's the real question. But this person, apparently his now wife, doesn't do this, which is surprising to me. Because if you, again, yeah, say, "Oh, we're going to go to Pete's." What is Pete's specialty? That doesn't tell me anything. So before I go to places, right, I look at the menu. And often online, they'll advertise at a lot of coffee shops that they carry a medium-sized beverage. Actually, most places, even fast food places, they'll advertise that we have small, medium, and large sizes. But then you actually go to the establishment, we'll use coffee shops in this case, and I found that a lot of coffee shops, even the board, right, in person, advertises a medium size. So you go up there because you're like, well, small is too small. It's dominated by mostly ice because I'm an iced coffee gentleman myself. And large, oh, large is too much. That's far too much sugar, isn't it? So I'll go with a medium. A medium seems like a happy medium. I wonder why I got its name. And I am often met with the retort of, "Oh, well, we don't have medium. Do you want to do a large?" I'm like, "What?" "Well, it says medium right there." Yeah. They're like, "Yeah, we don't do that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But even on the website, it says medium. They're like, "Yeah, well, it does. No, we know. But no, we don't do that." Like, what the fuck is that? So all my research doesn't even pay off because I confirm they have a medium. It's in the nutritional chart, right? I check that, see how much sugar I'm taking on for the morning, and all my work goes by the wayside because I show up in person. Well, I'm like, "I'll take a medium iced caramel macchiato," and they're like, "Well, you can get a small or a large. Which way do you want to ruin your morning? Do you want to have a watered down, small, icy shot, or do you want to have a cup of sugar and sweet, sweet brown liquid?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow. Well, the second one's going to make me tired by noon, and the first one's going to piss me off. Can you just throw hot coffee in my face? I feel like that'll get the job done." But it's like if someone was wearing a fucking military outfit and you're like, "Hey, thank you for your service." And they're like, "Oh, I'm not in the military." And you're like, "What?" "Well, no, but you're advertising as though you're in the military." And they're like, "No, I know what it looks like, but no." "Oh, okay." Well, I thought you can see now why I was confused, right? I thought I could say a thing. "Oh, thank you for your service," but that's not even true. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, mm-hmm." Well, sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out. I go up to the cash register. I say one medium coffee. You say, "Well, yeah, I know it's up there, but no." I know we're dressed that way, but that's not the story we're telling. And then someone behind you, "Hey, it's coffee. Hurry the fuck up, asshole." I'm like, "Oh, asshole, that kind of language early in this morning, huh? Really? Wow." Before the sun is even cracking its ass, you're talking to me that way? It's Sunday. You're going to church after this, aren't you? Here, how about this? Pay a little extra because you're gonna need it. All right? You need all the good grace that you can get because what you just said to me back there, fucked up. Trying to rush me in this coffee line. Yeah, they don't have a medium. Yeah, of course they don't have a medium, asshole. Do you understand the supply? How much that would cost to stock medium cups for assholes like you trying to order some shit like that? Hurry up. I'm like, all right, well look who took Biz 2A in college, huh? How about you give me the money because you've assaulted me verbally with that. Don't waste it on your church. Give it to me. In fact, everyone on the ground. How about that? No, you know what? I'm gonna hold this place up. Imagine a timid robber. Everyone on the ground. I mean, like whenever you can. I see you're finishing up that croissant, but yeah, whenever, get on the ground right after that. Nope, don't move. Actually, are you uncomfortable? You can, yeah, you can. Fine. That's fine. That's cool. Oh man. But yeah, divorce rates, huh? That's kind of the same thing. Marriage. They're advertising that I'm going to love you for eternity. I didn't know eternity was 2 years. It didn't mean what I thought it meant. When you said you have a medium coffee, I thought that meant you had a medium coffee. I thought when you said you love me forever, that you would love me forever. I didn't realize that love me forever was 2 fiscal years. So yeah, I don't know if you've experienced this, but it's something I've observed that whenever you want to order a medium, they don't do that shit. But then there's some coffee shops that only do a medium. I've been to a donut shop where they only have medium. So I'm like, is that where all the cups are going? They're taking them from like corporations. I feel like corporations are often ones that only do small or large because they love hitting you with that little line, right? Hey, can I take a small shake? And they're like, would you like to upgrade that for 25 cents more? I'm like, oh, wow. you you caught a hit of my vibe, right? And you're offering that just to me? No, we offer it to everyone. Wow, okay. So you saw I was a chill guy, and you were like, I'm gonna offer this guy kind of a BOGO, kind of a discount, huh? They're like, no, sir, we offer it to everyone. Oh, okay, no, this is cool. I'm gonna journal about this later. What was it, by the way? Was it like the glint in my eye? Is that what it was? The flash that you saw? Did you see a little bit of you in me? Sir, I'm about to see a little bit of me in you when this fist enters your mouth if you don't shut the fuck up and move on. Oh my god. Does this mean I can still do the large upgrade? Yeah, you know what? Just fucking take the large, asshole. Sorry. This all would have been circumnavigated if you just fucking carried medium, though. But that's the thing. All these bespoke shops, they like to just make it to where, hey, we have one size, take it or leave it. And it's always a medium. But these corporations, right? Your Noah's Bagels, your McDonald's, they're like, we got small or large. What do you want? Unless I'm getting fucked. These places I've gone to, they only have those two sizes. I don't know if they're like, we got to make a decision on this guy. He looks kind of frail. So should we just say we have a small because that's all he can handle? Or should we say we have a large because he should put on some weight? You know? Maybe that's why they present me with those two options. I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's been happening. Another thing that's been happening is, I go on TikTok. That's how I spend my days, huh? I saw a hot person saying it was her birthday. I saw a guy comment, and he said, oh my god, I have the same birthday. Must be fate. And I was like, what the fuck what are we doing, huh? I always wonder when I see those comments, do any of these guys think that these girls are going to see, this is a tired premise, but do any of these guys think these girls are going to see this comment and be like, I'm going to DM this guy and pursue a relationship? Because that was good. The way he called me hot with those fire emojis, when he said this shit so tough, NGL, not going to lie. I don't know. I kind of just saw a husband and a father figure in him. I don't know what it was. That drop shipping link in his bio, that's, man, I'm wet. Okay. That's no way. The way his bio says where he is, his height, and humble, I don't know. That kind of appeals to me. I love when people do that. Two really good attributes, like smart, funny, and humble. Love that shit. The 1-2 punch followed by the humble. Wow. To extinguish it. I used to do that in high school. We would have to do, you're in these clubs, you introduce yourself. I would always do that. Really good thing, humble. And it would always get a laugh. Because we were like, what? 15? And we didn't know what humor was. So we were like, oh my god, that's creative. But yeah, these guys, they comment on these girls' posts. And this was a weird pickup line to me. Damn, I have the same birthday. It must be fate. Think about what you just said. You're telling her now, if you guys were together, right? Let's play this out. No, go ahead. Go ahead, play it out. If you guys were together, for the rest of your lives, you would have to share your birthday. Her special day. You're like, yeah, let's go halvesies on it. What the fuck? Hey, you know that day that's just supposed to be dedicated to you? Let's share it. Let's like, that's also then we don't have to get each other gifts. We can just like, right? Isn't that so cool? No, you should make it 2 different days. Because guess what, asshole? Your birthday is also going to kind of be her treat, okay? Because you guys are going to go to a nice dinner. You'll pay because you're a gentleman, right? I know you are. You left a comment on a stranger's TikTok. That means you're a gentleman. But you're supposed to have 2 special days, okay? Everyone works these fucking jobs that are sucking the soul out of them. You need these holidays to break up your life. If you take the one holiday, right? One of the 365 days of the year they look forward to, and you fucking split it in half, what are you doing? That's like taking someone's favorite treat and then ripping it in half in front of them, being like, here, you can have this, and it's a smaller half. No, smaller half, Garv. Well, that's impossible because a half is 50-50. I remember my dad told us that joke when we were younger, except it wasn't a joke. He meant it sincerely. And I was like, oh, that sucks. It was so funny when I first heard it. And then the second time you hear it, you're like, can everyone just, you know what? Matter of fact, everyone on the ground. Again, fuck you. I don't even care that you're not done with your croissant. Everyone get on the fucking ground. Because I'm done with this shit, man. Fuck that. But that's a great line. In case you're still in high school and you want to use some humorous stuff on people called jokes. If someone ever says, oh man, you took the bigger half, you're like, well, that's impossible. It can't be a bigger half because half is 50%. Hey man, I'm going to shoot you 100%. How about that? And I'm going to shoot every inch of you. Because shut up, all right? But I don't know why you would think that would be a good idea. You know that really cool thing that you is like coveted to you? I'm going to take that from you. That's your first proposal. Before you even will get to the proposal of marriage, your first idea with this person is like, hey, your special day, let's make it less special. How does that sound? You know nothing about me. The only thing you know you'll get from me for sure is that your birthday is going to be a little worse every year. Any takers? So I've never understood that. This isn't a thing that's routinely happening, but that's something I notice. So it's not something I never understood. It's something I saw once and now I don't understand. I have to say, though, that speaking of hot people, I have to say that being called funny feels better than being called hot. Oh, God, have you been called hot? How do you know how that feels? Oh, okay. Well, I could imagine it feels better than being called hot because being called funny feels the best out of anything ever. So I would imagine that, yes, it is even a further zenith than being called hot. I would think it's a better feeling. And that's because it feels like it's more earned, right? Because you have to like say certain things. Being hot, you can be hot from a distance. You can't really be funny from a distance, unless, yeah, you do physical humor. But if you're just standing, you can be hot. But there's no way to tell if you're funny. You have to open your mouth and like use your like brain. Now, you can use your brain to be hot, right? You can care for yourself in a certain way, exercise, do all that, right? Look a certain way, pick your fashion. There's a way to be attractive consciously where you deserve credit. But being funny, I don't know why, it feels really nice to get credit for that. Now, I'm not saying I'm a funny person, but I've been called funny a couple times these past few weeks. Guys, it feels good. It feels good to be called funny. I've been actually, I had this happen a few weeks ago. I was talking to someone for the first time, and then she was like, oh, you're funny, aren't you? I was like, oh, wow. It felt like they discovered it, right? It was like they didn't even want to accept it. They're like, oh, fuck, you are funny. I don't even want to admit it, right? And it was nice. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm funny. I'm funny to that person, which is nice, but it was cool. What's not cool, however, is being labeled as the funny person, because that sucks. I was at my sister's birthday party months ago, and one of her friends, I've known her, a longtime best friend of my sister, and she now has a boyfriend at the time. But she told her boyfriend, I said some joke, and then, everyone laughed. As is always the case, am I right, guys? But I told a joke, and I was close enough to them to hear her lean over to her boyfriend and go, oh, by the way, that's Gauruv. He's like the funny one. He's like really funny. And I was like, well, that's a nice thing to say, but it's also fucked up. because her boyfriend doesn't know me. But now he's like, oh, Garv's the funny one. Oh, okay. So that's his thing. No, no, I don't have a thing. I don't have a thing. No, no, no. Don't put me in a bucket now. What is that? When you get a pigeonholed? Is that what it's called? Because now everything I do feels contrived in his eyes. In my eyes, of his eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like anytime I tell a joke now, he's probably thinking, "Oh, well, yep, there he goes again. He's trying to be funny because apparently that's his thing." No, I'm not. No, it's not my thing. It's just it happens, and then it happens enough where people are like, "Well, that's a label we'll give them because we give people labels, right?" Like when people talk about people, they're like, "Oh, well, that's my hot friend." You guys do that too, right? That's how I talk about my friends. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's my hot friend. That's my friend that's hard to look at," right? That's the only signifying quality about them. So I got the honor, right? The honorific title of being called funny by my sister's longtime best friend. But it comes right with its hardships. It's a heavy load to lift. This dude's taking loads out here. Yeah, I am, and it's not so funny because now I have to somehow get around this. I feel like when someone's like, "Oh, this," before someone's even met you, they're like, "Oh, this is Garv. He's funny." I'm like, "Well, don't say that," because the best part about a funny person is it creeping up on you. That girl I was talking about a few weeks ago when she was like, "Oh wait, you're funny." I was like, "Oh, look at that." That's part of the thrill, right? But if you tell someone prior to them meeting me, they're like, "Oh God, that's Garv. We're gonna meet Garv. He's funny." Well, now you've set the fucking expectation. Now I gotta meet it. What are you doing? You fucked me, and that's no joke. I'll tell you that much. But now, yeah, like I said, it feels like everything I do is contrived because they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, he's doing his thing," right? It's like if you were to tell someone, "We got to go see this up and coming basketball player." They're calling him the next LeBron, and you go out there, you watch him, and it's like a 15-point game. You'll be like, "Oh, well, that wasn't very good." I mean, LeBron would have had 30. It's what yeah, you're comparing him to LeBron. I'm not doing exactly that, but it feels like being called funny is like being called LeBron because then people come in with an expectation. They're like, "Well, if you are funny, if you are LeBron, you've met expectations, right?" It's so hard to outperform that. And that's why, LeBron is my GOAT. Because not only did he come in with unrealistic expectations, they told a high school LeBron, everyone expects you to make the Hall of Fame. Anything short of that would be seen as a failure. That's insane. What were you told as an 18-year-old? I know what I was told as an 18-year-old. I was told that, "Oh, sorry, we don't have medium-sized cups." I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" So, don't do that. But I have to say, the honor of being called funny, that's nice. I've been called that a few times. That's, hey, that's pretty sweet. Look at us in this floating rock. To be called funny amidst it all, I don't know. I'd say that's pretty neat. Yeah. Because what's better than having some fun? Huh? Nothing. And so if I can be an arbiter, a distributor of such a pleasure, well, hey, Chick-fil-A, the pleasure's all mine. My pleasure. But no, it feels a little more earned rather than putting on a big oversized coat and oversized jeans and then some cool sneakers and people being like, "Ooh, okay, fashion. Okay, Prada. Okay, Paris Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. Okay, Statue of Liberty." Funny feels a little more earned. No? I don't know. Yo, all my comedians, shouts out to you in the comments. You guys are, shouts out to you. And shouts out to all the comedians that work in a corporate world. You know something I realized? We're going back in the office in 2 weeks, which means you really got to ham up the personality thing. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of my bits in real life, I don't think I really do it here because it's hard to. I need someone to like play off of. But I feel like most of the bits I do in real life are me being like an idiot, not knowing things. And unfortunately at work, that's not a great audience to play that bit to, which is like my most used bit. The best bit is acting like you know nothing and then you just let stuff unfold in a conversation. No one likes to know it all. I fucking don't like smart people. I never want to be a smart person. Well, don't worry, guy. We got nothing to be worried about. I'm not very smart, but I know one thing for sure. You got nothing to worry about, sucker. Oh, okay. Well, let's ease up on that, okay? Lay off the cigarettes. But my most used bit, I can't even use at work because then people will just think I'm an idiot. That's not good. But it plays so well in real life. But then when you enter the corporate four walls, oh, it falls flat on its face. It does the exact opposite thing. It hurts myself. I've been hoisted by my own petard. It's no good. So I got to be careful. I got to find different ways to be funny. Like but when I come in, right? We're gonna come in and how was your weekend? Too short. Not long enough. Hey, could have used another one of those. Man, work already, huh? Paradise? Or do I need a paradise? Because I need to gamble and hit big so I can quit this job. Stop. Oh my God. Wow. Anywho, when I was younger, I was an intern at a corporate job when I was 17. It was the summer before my senior year of high school. And I remember I would walk through the office, and everyone I'd pass, I always would try to smile at them and go, give them a little nod. And rarely was it reciprocated. I would say 98% of the time, people would just look at the ground, not look at me. I never understood why that was. I was like, why can't they just, do the human thing and go, hey, how's it going? But now I've grown up. I'm 26. I work at the same company. I walk around these same buildings, and I am like them. I am like those adults that I couldn't understand. Because anytime I walk by someone, I look at the ground, or I look, off to the side. And it's not because I don't want to engage with the person. It's just because I'm like, well, let's not do a thing, right? I have to put up so much energy to be like social at work. Let's not use a little bit for this whole interaction. It's going to drain me. So I keep it down. I don't feel bad about that decision because in public, I still, I make the little head nods to people and stuff like that. Hey, how's it going? Because that's nice. People in public are like open to being like a human, but inside a corporate workspace, even though we're all together collaborating and team building and all the words, right? Whatever, right? Something you'd see in a PowerPoint. It doesn't feel the same. Seeing someone in tight denim and a polo shirt, giving a little nod, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't give you that boost that you think you would need. So now I understand what I couldn't understand as a 17-year-old. It only took me 9 years. I became the very thing I swore to destroy. But because I realized, it makes sense. Yeah. But I still, like I said, I do it in person. Like I was driving through a neighborhood earlier this week, trying to come home. I was over at someone's place. I was driving through a neighborhood and this kid was on a bike, maybe like, elementary school. I stopped and I always let the bikes go because I'm like, I don't want to get it misconstrued. And then, I just go while you were gone because then, I'm in the bad spot there. So I always try to be conservative and, let them go. So I stopped. This kid also stopped. And I went, and then he went and gave me a wave. And then turned the corner and then boom, I had to take another right. So we were again faced with each other. And then this time he went, and then I went, oh. And then we both smiled and like laughed. You could see each other's teeth. And I thought that was funny because he was young, but he understood like, I don't know, the nonverbal communication was like very on point. And we had like banter that was nonverbal. I thought that was really cool. But I won't be doing the same thing at work. I will be head down, marching to the beat of someone else's drum because that's what you're supposed to do. Little drummer boy. I'll leave you with a story. I'm reading this book right now called Unreasonable Hospitality by a guy named Will. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's like Guarda or Gidra. It's by Will. And Will told a story. He's a chef or manager in New York, some of the best restaurants. And he told a story. He tries to do a little pep speech for his crew every day, 30 minutes before they start their service. And he's like, I like to tell little anecdotes to get them fired up. And he told one in the book that I'm going to tell you right now because I thought it was quite interesting. You see, the barber he would usually go to was packed at the time he needed a haircut. So he decided to go to some other barbershop, and he went in. They use that blue liquid where they stick all the combs in, and got a haircut. Pretty much the same quality as a place he usually goes to. Wasn't that much of a downgrade, right? But when he went to check out, right, pay, the barber was like, "So, what do you want?" And he was like, "What?" And then he pointed behind him, and there were 3 handles of liquor. There was gin, vodka, and whiskey. And Will was delighted. He goes, "Oh, I'll take whiskey." And the guy pours him a shot in a little plastic cup of whiskey and gave it to him. And he was like, "That is something so weird, so questionable, right? You wonder who thought of that." But it left an impression on me. It made me remember that place, and it made me feel a little good on the way out, no matter how bad they fucked up my haircut. But he's like, those are the little things you have to do to go above and beyond. That's unreasonable what they did, but it left an impression. So I urge you this week to do something that goes a little above and beyond, that leaves an impression on someone. Someone you've been thinking about, someone you've been meaning to say a nice thing to, reach out to them. Say, "Hey, nice thing." Insert nice thing here. Because it's unreasonable, right? But it's the little things that make this life worth living. All right, let's get out there and prepare a feast for these people that made a reservation 7 months in advance. Huh? Some of them might not even be together anymore, but they made the reservation. Now they're going to see it through. Because, hey, we booked the thing. Might as well enjoy it. And I'll leave you with a little bit of a little cup of whiskey before I go and give you a song recommendation, which is The Subway by Chappell Roan. I know it's been on TikTok a lot recently, but that's just a testament to how good it is. It's tried and true. And you don't want to go through life letting it fly by you. So give it a listen. Tell Chappell I sent you. And tell me something in the comments, because I need them. I haven't responded to comments from the last 2 episodes. I've been a little busy, a little sick, but I promise I'm going to go out of my way and respond to all of those before this episode goes out. Huh? How about that? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and a comment. And I'll talk to you next week. Okay?